Okay, here we are. It's February 23rd, 2000, and it's 4:35 in the morning, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do some sort of interview, um, and I didn't know quite how to do it. I was asked if someone wanted to interview me or what, but I decided to do it like this, all by myself, just here, just myself and a tape recorder in a room, and I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about shit, I guess. Anyways, so this is supposed to be about Black Leather Jesus, and of course, with me it always kind of goes off on whatever else. So I'll try to keep it on track as much as possible, but I'm sure that won't last. So, well, I formed Black Leather Jesus back in summer of 1990, and at the time I was in high school, and initially it was a solo project, and soon after, in 91, it became a band. The first members were Barbara, Angela, and later Marianne came into it. And that was in 91. My first release actually was entitled Liar by Wound. That was the first release in 1990. And then after that, the second release, which was A Dead Silence, and then Fear was the third release. And those two included, it was more of a band setting at that time. And we did our first show in 91, December of 91, at a place called 6D2X, I believe it was called. It was in LaPorte, Texas, which is a small town outside of Houston. And we did it at this, at that club, which was mostly the people performing at the club were punk, gothic type bands, and we were the only noise band that performed. And but it went over well with the people. Our performance started at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we only did a 15-minute set, but it was fun. I think people really enjoyed it. And after that, we took a break from doing any live performances. I didn't do one until I think 93 was probably when I did another Black Leather Jesus live performance, because also at the time I was also in another band called Threshold of Sleep, which was formed in 91, so I did that on the side as well. And Threshold of Sleep was the one that was mostly doing shows at that time. So, but let's see, God, I don't even know where to go from there. We've done so many releases, I can't even count how many releases that Black Leather Jesus have done. And we've gone through so many members. Roughly 13 members is what we left off on. And I think that I've been known to be a difficult person to work with in a band, but not because I'm a perfectionist or anything like that. It's just when I'm doing a performance, I do take it seriously. I want to enjoy myself, but I do take it seriously, and I think sometimes, we just sort of conflict, band members, especially during live performances. And sometimes someone doesn't take it as serious, and just fooling around, and it's alright sometimes, but then after a while it's kind of like, okay, let's be a little bit serious about this, So I don't take it to the extreme though, as some other noise artists do, and I think some of them are just pretty pretentious and have these inflated egos, which is needless. I mean, it's not like, like we're on MTV or something, I mean, it's just, I don't see why some of them think they're rock stars, but apparently some of them do, and it just, I don't get it, but oh well. But yeah, I mean, I've had problems with band members being very flaky or just not getting along, or some of them had drug problems, and I'm not into it, and I just didn't want to deal with that, and so I kicked them out of the band. I got into fights with band members, had been involved with some band members, and the relationship didn't work out. Therefore, that obviously hurted our professional side. So it's just, there's a lot of different factors that went into why we had so many different band members. You know, people moved away, and unfortunately we had two band members that passed away. The first one was Kevin Ogg, and he passed away from AIDS. And the other is Donna Meekley, and she was killed in a car accident. And so it was very difficult. It was a difficult time dealing with both of their deaths, and you know, their deaths weren't that far apart, and it wasn't easy. It really wasn't. But it was something I think that we all had to deal with and struggle with it, but I think we've done pretty well with it. I mean, I was involved with Kevin, and of course there were rumors that I was HIV positive, and that the reason why I was sort of out of the noise scene for the past 2.5 years is that, you know, I was dying of AIDS, and which is totally false. You know, I'm not HIV positive, but I was involved with someone who was, and it was a relationship that I knew he was before we got involved, but that wasn't going to stop me from being with him. You know, you just know about all the precautions and whatnot, but we won't get into that. And I'm sure you're glad, but oh well. And so I knew what I was getting into, you know, but I loved him, you know, I cared about him a lot, and I thought, I think that he brought probably the best part of Black Leather Jesus out. I think some of the stuff that he and I did together were some of our best releases. Like the Bible of Burnt Skin, Torturous Chapter, Smut, Anti-Levee. I think some of those are some of our best albums, and he had a lot to do with that, and I think it was great working with him. He was just awesome. And he was one that didn't take shit from people. You know, he offended a lot of people here locally. I mean, he also worked in his own noise band called Fetus Furs, and he pissed a lot of people off. You know, it was awesome because he didn't take shit from people, and it was just great to see some of the work that he was doing. You know, he pissed off a lot of other local bands, and you know, animal rights activists he's pissed off here. I mean, so, but and I think that I learned a lot from him about the business, because I think initially I took a lot of shit from people and dealt with too many people's egos, and just sort of like, okay, whatever, you know, just whatever. I just took a bunch of shit from people, and I think, you know, after meeting him, it was just, I learned that from him, just not to take shit from people, and just to not let people tell you that you're never going to amount to shit, you know, compared to them, you know, and that your work is pathetic, you know. And I just think that too many people in this industry tend to do that to new artists, and I think it's sad, because, you know, I think it should be an industry where people, you know, it's kind of like, why not help each other out? What's the problem? I mean, I think so many people think it's competition, and I just think it's sad when it turns into that. And so he taught me a lot, you know, not to take shit from people. And I think, you know, that I decided not to. And I lost a lot of contacts you know, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. And especially with some of the Japanese. I mean, I was friends with a lot of the Japanese, like Mersbo and CCCC and Third Organ and Pain Jerk and Obe or Alb, however you want to say it. I don't exactly know, but and I lost a lot of the friendship. I lost a lot of those, you know. But you know, like Obe or Alb, again, however you want to say, the guy who runs Gross Label in Japan. I mean, he's a prick, and I was tired of dealing with him being a prick and hearing that he was being a prick to a bunch of other people. You know, he was telling their work was, you know, stupid, useless, whatever. He didn't like a lot of pornographic images, even though on his own label he has bands like Taint, which is like the epitome of noise and pornography, you know. So I mean, he was a hypocrite, you know. He had an artist like that on his label, yet he was insulting other people for doing them, and it didn't make sense, you know. He had Skin Crime on his label that's pretty brutal with their imagery, and he claims he's not into that, and it's just talk about a hypocrite. I mean, so I didn't want to deal with him anymore. I finally told him to fuck off. He told me the same thing, and it was it. I lost touch with her at Oregon, which was no tear shed out with that. And another prick was Grunt. I mean, the guy who does the band Grunt, you know, Freak Animal guy. He's probably the worst prick, I think, of all of them. We've done releases together, unfortunately, but I think he treats people like shit, and he has like this ego, you know, that is just massive, and it's sad. I mean, I don't get it, and I don't think he does either, but so he's another one I just didn't like dealing with anymore, and I finally told him to fuck off as well. And I hate to hear how he treats people. I mean, it angers me a lot, you know, that people can be like that. And so I just don't deal with them anymore. You know, I don't deal with a lot of people anymore. I think there's a select few people that I deal with still that I consider friends. You know, whether they're old friends or new friends. You know, and I could care less if I ever, you know, hear from Mersbo or, you know, or Grunt or any of these people again. I could care less. You know, and it's no loss. It really isn't. And so I'm just tired of the stupid ass egos. But getting back to Black Leather Jesus, we've done quite a bit of live shows here in Houston, and some of them were pretty fun. I mean, I remember one incident where we did a performance at a festival that was called BuzzFest, and it was a festival at Commerce Street Artists Warehouse here in Houston. And the festival was supposed to be a festival of like battle of the ambient bands, you know, kind of thing. Ambient or ambient if you're from the South, I guess, but I say ambient. And there was a lot of bands performing at that, like Static Ecstasy, Voice of I, Yuri Thrall, Xenophora, a bunch of really, I guess, pretty lame bands. And but we were asked by the organizer to do the show as well. However, he told us to do ambient music and not noise. And we agreed, you know, just to see what would happen if we got on the bill. Because I know one of the organizers, Bonnie from Voice of I, hates us, and it would just be funny to see us on a bill with Voice of I. So we got on the bill, and actually the day of the show, we were told that we were not going to perform on the main stage. We were going to perform outside on the dock of the art gallery. So basically when people were coming into the gallery, they would be passing us. So we were pissed about it and offended. So what we did and they also told us not to do a performance until like intermission. So we were just like, whatever. And I asked a friend to go see who was performing at the time, and it was Voice of I, so it happened to be them. And so we like, what the hell, you know? So we started performing and doing harsh noise at the same time that they were performing inside the gallery. And actually, the people from inside came outside to watch us and see what was going on. So we basically took most of their audience, and after our performance, the organizer of the event told us that we were banned from the festival, that we would never do a show with them again, which is a loss. And the Voice of I was pissed off at us, and that was like, that just put a smile on my face that we offended Voice of I. I mean, because Bonnie and Jim are like total pricks. You know, very pretentious, you know, in the closet still couple. And it was just really pathetic. So it was no big deal, you know. We had a lot of fun doing that and pissing people off. But oh well. Another performance I remember we did was a Noise Fest. Actually, I was the organizer of Houston Noise Fest. And actually, the Noise Fest was initially started by Bliss Blood and Scott Ayers of Paintings, which, you know, of course, they're now broken up. Long time, that is. But they were doing what was considered a noise fest, but it really wasn't. It was just a bunch of like hardcore punk bands, you know. And after they stopped doing it, I started doing Noise Fest, and then it was actually a quote-unquote noise fest, you know. And I remember we did a show, and I believe it was in the 92 Noise Fest, I believe it was. No, it might have been, no, it was 93, I take that back, it was 93. And we did a show, and there was like some controversy before the actual Noise Fest was coming up. There was an interview done on KTRU Rice Radio, and they had mentioned that we were doing an S&M show during our performance, and there were going to be nudity and stuff like that, and so the club was kind of worried about the cops being called out to the show. And but we set up a cage, and we had like 2 people in the cage, nude, covering each other with paint and stuff like that, just being very erotic with each other while we were doing a performance. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was like no big deal, but of course to some people it was, but it was a lot of fun. And you know, we did that, and we've done shows where we smash things up and destroy things, you know, typical, you know, but that's so cliche, and we stopped doing that. So we've even had an opportunity to open for Fetus one year, and we turned it down because of the venue that it was going to be at. We didn't like the people at the venue because they treated us like shit one time that we did a performance before. So it was like we just gave up on that idea of opening it for Fetus, and so we didn't do that. And so, but Black Leather Jesus, we've done a lot of shows over the years, and I think we sort of ended, you know, our live performances. I believe it was in '97 we stopped really doing shows. I think we've only done one since '97, but it just got tiring. I mean, it was a cool noise scene here in Houston for quite a number of years, you know, but it died down. I think it died down a lot, you know, because I think myself and Sean from Rotten Peace, which is an awesome band, other things took our time, and then we just didn't really organize more shows, and we were the ones who were the main ones organizing the events, you know, for those years, and we just didn't really have the time to really do that anymore, and so that sort of ended. So, but it was fun while it lasted, you know, and through the years I've done a few I should say, solo performances, live solo performances. But mostly I've done stuff with Black Leather Jesus, you know, and there were some pretty cool shows that we did, and so anyways, and again, going back to Black Leather Jesus members, you know, and we, you know, I've dealt with people in the band that were fun to get along with, easy to work with, and did some some awesome shows and recordings with. Then you had some that were pricks. I mean, I've even had one who claimed he was in Black Leather Jesus. There was this guy that I dated for a while, James Brand, aka Moz, and we did a Rice radio performance, and he did a jam session with Black Leather Jesus, and that was the only time. That was it, and he claimed that he was in the band and tried to get people to put stuff out for him because he, quote unquote, was an ex-member of Black Leather Jesus, and I just thought it was pretty funny because he only did that one performance with us. It was like, when did he become a member? But I mean, you get stupid shit like that, and I've had death threats, things like that happen because of me being openly gay. Things like that have happened, and it's not anything new for me. But it's no fun either, I just think it's kind of stupid because I think some labels, I've actually have had problems with some labels where I've sent to do a CD and they're gonna do a CD for me, and I send them the artwork, and the artwork is like homosexual imagery, and they don't want to do it, yet they put out a record that has like a slaughtered person or just like total destruction and violence, but they won't put one out that has two men kissing. I mean, go figure. I guess that shows the ignorance of people in this industry and, well, all over the world, I should say. So, I mean, I've dealt with a lot of shit from people and, homophobic people and, oh, God, you name it. But, it's just, there's the good and the bad, of course, in anything that you do. And you just, have to try to deal with it the best that you can. And, or don't deal with it, or whatever. But, I mean, I've had a lot of fun doing the noise and doing the performances and stuff like that. And, so Houston's a pretty neat city to be in. I mean, actually at this moment it's raining, it's storming outside, but I think Houston's a pretty good city in every sense of the word. I mean, whatever you want to do or whatever, I think Houston's a really good city for it, and Houston was a really good city to let me do shows and have people come out to my shows, and we had a really good response. I mean, I would do shows and have anywhere from 40 people at my show to almost 200 people at my show. And it's fun, and that's pretty good for a noise band, I mean, a lot of bands I'm sure have done shows and there's like, 5-10 people at the show. But I think people really came out to the shows here in Houston and really supported the scene. And I think that's one good thing about Houston. And actually I did some shows in Mexico last December, and I did a show like in Reynosa and Matamoros, and they were pretty good shows. I mean, actually in the one in Reynosa, I had 500 people come out to the show, and it was really, really awesome. I was really fucking nervous about that. I mean, but it was awesome to really do a show with that many people seeing your performance, and it was awesome. It was really, really awesome, and I'm considering doing that again, and actually considering doing another tour with Black Leather Jesus sometime in the future before everything sort of comes to an end for me, I mean, as far as this goes. And so I'm really considering doing that, maybe doing some sort of European tour or something. I doubt I would do a US tour, just because it's just, I don't know where I would do shows at here. I have pretty good ideas where to do shows in other countries, but Houston has been very supportive of what I've done, and Houston has like these music award shows that they hold here, and Black Leather Jesus, we've been nominated, probably about 6 times, 6 years in a row, and we won one year. which was really awesome. It was conducted by the Houston Press, and they had this huge awards ceremony, and but we won one year, and it was really really cool, to be acknowledged by the people here in Houston, of what you do and what you're doing in the scene. And so I was really proud of that. At least that people were acknowledging my work, and so it's cool. No big deal to other people, but for me it was really cool to be acknowledged for something like that. And but everything else has just been great. I mean, as far as meeting new people all over the world, letters, phone calls, it's really cool to meet a lot of different people and see what are their interests and things like that. So I think I like that aspect about running Deadline Records. Because initially running Deadline, which I started in '92, didn't get much of a response, being a new label. But then when you sort of build up your reputation, then you start seeing something come back from it, and it's been great to see that and see the response that I've gotten over the years. So I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Okay, now what else can we get into? I know I'm asked a lot, who do I listen to when I do listen to noise? And I also am asked, what do I listen to when I'm not listening to noise? I really like listening to, as far as noise, I'm really into Cock ESP. You thought I was going to say just Cock, huh? I'm into that too, but yeah, I'm really into Cock ESP. I like their music a lot. I think they're crazy and insane, and it's fun. I just think Amol, he's insane, but their music's a lot of fun. I love it. I also like 666 volt battery noise. I also like Autoerotic Cries, which I'm not sure if he's working under a different name now or not, but I like their work. And I also like Skin Crime. Big fan of Skin Crime. Also Government Alpha. I think Government Alpha is awesome. God, who else? I like Speculum Fight. Damien, it does some really cool noise stuff. I'm trying to think who else. I've always liked the Haters. The Haters are just fucking awesome. I've always liked the Haters. And Smellin' Quim. Actually, I really, really like Smellin' Quim. Very explicit, which is great sometimes. But I like their music a lot. I'm also a big fan of CCCC. Huge fan of CCCC. Even though they can be difficult to work with and deal with, I think their noise is awesome. Heijo Kaiden, however you want to say their name, I like their work as well. Jojo and Junko, they do some really great noise. Incapacitants, I enjoy listening to. Outermost, I enjoy listening to. I enjoy listening to Taint. I've always been a fan of Taint's work. Even though he's another person that sometimes can be difficult to work with, but I think he does some really cool noise. I really do. Atrax Morgue, I like a lot. Try to think here. Oh shit. I do like New Blockaders. I like them a lot. I also like God. I used to be a fan of Non. Some of his noisier stuff. I think Boyd Rice does some really cool noise. I'm not too fond with everything he does. I think some of it's really silly, but some of his noise stuff is pretty cool. And there was a band called Blister Pack, which I don't know whatever happened to them, but they did some awesome noise as well. Also Rend, they were really, really cool, and I don't know whatever happened to them as well. And also Killer Bug, I know he started doing stuff under his own name, but I liked his work a lot too. And Rotten Peace, a local band, I really love their work a lot. And oh god, whoa. Also some new stuff that's been coming out. I've really enjoyed listening to stuff from Spite Recordings. I mean, I think that he puts out some really cool releases, and I like some of the bands that come out from there. And also, I like a lot of the stuff that I've heard from Hospital Productions. I think that he's doing some really pretty cool releases as well. I like a lot of the stuff. And I also like Flatline Construct from Canada. I like their work a lot as well. I think they're pretty awesome. And ATM, they do some really cool stuff. And the Implicit Order, I'm really into them. And also I like some of what Frank Gauthier did in Canada. He used to have a band called he ran a label called Worthless Human Flesh, and I know he was working under different names at the time, and I thought he did some really pretty cool work as well. And let's see, what else have I been listening to? That's all I can really think of, actually, when it comes to harsh noise stuff, or intense experimental music. I think some of the other stuff that I do like, that varies from borderline ambient music and experimental stuff. I like PGR a lot. Les Mord, Nurse with Wound, like I said, some non-recordings, some Nocturnal Emissions. I like some of their work. Also, yeah, I like some Current 93, some Coil as well. Some of that stuff is pretty good. I remember there's a band called Krang back in the early 80s. I really thought they were pretty awesome as well. And even though I worked with Merzbow in the past and actually did some collaborations with him and whatnot, I like some of his work. I don't think I'm that gung-ho about everything he does. I think he has, some good releases, and but he's flooded the market quite a bit, and I think a lot of people got tired of him. I know I somewhat did that too, but I don't think I saturated the market as much as he and Obe or Al, whatever the fuck, did. I don't think I did it like that, thankfully. But I like some Merzbow stuff, some stuff. I think his 4CD box set was pretty good release. I was pretty impressed by that. Rainbow Electronics, the first one, was pretty cool. And Noise Embryo, I liked a lot. And sort of that Music for Bondage performance was a pretty cool release as well. And anyways, aside from that, but when I don't listen to noise or experimental music, my music taste ranges. It's a quite wide range of stuff that I like to listen to. But actually, I like bands like Red House Painters, The Ocean Blue, Mazzy Star, Soul Whirling Somewhere, Ultra Vivid Scene. I like some Spanish music, Spanish electronic music like Moenia. I think they're a pretty cool band. And Mikel Erenzu. He's actually from Italy, but does Spanish music as well. But that's some of the stuff I listen to aside from, the experimental noise stuff. And I don't listen to metal or rap or anything like that. I think that stuff pretty sucks. Sucks pretty bad. God, what else? That's just about it as far as what I'll say my musical taste is. I like other stuff too. I mean, I like My Bloody Valentine. I like the Cocteau Twins. I like Dead Can Dance. I like the Jesus and Mary Chain. God, what else? I like The Church. Wow. Love Lies Crushin'. Black Tape for a Blue Girl. Basically, that's what I can think of at the moment that I really like. So, there you go with that. And, yeah, that's basically it as far as that goes. And I think that being in this business for about 10 years, I see a lot of new people coming into the quote-unquote scene, or what's left of the scene, I should say. And I know it's hard. It's really difficult starting, business, trying to start up your label or your band or whatever. But basically, my advice is just shop your material around, see who'll listen to it, and who'll maybe give you some sort of direction, help you out in some way, because there's a lot of people who are pricks and don't want to help you because, it's competition for some people, and some people are assholes about that, and or others will say your work is shit or whatever, and they don't look at their own, and think of themselves as godlike or whatever. But just keep at it, and just do the best you can with what you have, not what they think you should have. And my philosophy has always been, you can have a beautiful looking release, beautiful, immaculate packaging, cover, like you spent hundreds of dollars on it, on a tape cover or something. But if the tape sounds like shit, it's shit. But if I get something and I see something that has a cheap Xerox cover or something, but the noise is awesome, it's fucking awesome. I don't give a fuck what the cover looks like. If it's good, it's good. And doing an elaborate packaging is not going to make it sound any better. So, to me, that's the main thing. It's the work, the noise that you hear. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. That's all there is to it. You either like it or you don't. And I think sometimes some people lose sight of the work and concentrate more on the packaging when it shouldn't be that way. And, and I think a lot of people have forgotten that. I think a lot of people criticize the packaging and don't listen to people because of the packaging, when I think that's not what it's all about. It's about what's within that package. And I think a lot of people look past that, and I think that's really stupid. So, and I've always been, I don't give a fuck whether the cover looks cheap or not. I don't give a fuck. Now, if the package looks good and the tape sounds awesome, hey, even better. But if it doesn't, hey, oh well. Someone else will like it, I guess. So, just keep doing it. Don't listen to shitheads. They'll tell you, to give it up, or tell you that they are the ones that are awesome and you have a long way to go. I mean, they're just scared. They're really scared of someone, taking their place, which I'm not too sure what place that is, but okay. But I think that's what it is, and I've dealt with people like that myself, and and one day the rest of us are not going to be here doing it anymore, and there's going to be new people coming in. There's always new people waiting in the wings to do it, and it's just, that's the way it is in everything. And I just have enjoyed what I've done these 10 years and had fun doing it, and if I'm still here doing it tomorrow, great. If I'm not, I had a blast, and there's a lot of new people out there coming and still doing the work, and it's awesome to see that, that people are still interested in doing harsh noise, and just, I definitely just tell them keep doing it. When it stops being fun, it's time to stop. When it becomes more work than enjoyment, more than you can enjoy, it's time to stop. And I think I'm almost there. I'm almost there, I think. I'm still enjoying some of it, but I think I am getting to the point where I have other things that are going on in my life that are very important and are top priority to me. And, I enjoy doing other things more than this, and this is fun. It's fun to do on the side, here and there, but, there is, soon will come a time when it'll all stop for me when it comes to releases, I think that's not too far down the road for me, and it's getting close to me calling it quits, just because it's not as fun as it used to be. There's still some cool people out there to deal with and work with, but it's very scarce. I would say very scarce. So, to those of you who are listening to this, I hope you enjoyed listening to this really unusual interview that I'm doing. I didn't have anything written down or anything. I just came in a room and turned on the recorder and just said, hey, what the hell, I'm going to go ahead and just start talking and just say what I want to say, what I have on my mind, or what I think that maybe others would want to know. So I wasn't too explicit, I don't think, about sex or anything like I used to be in my interviews. I used to talk about dicks and fucking and all that shit. I don't think I didn't do that this time. I sort of toned down on that. So, but I hope you enjoyed listening to this, and if you didn't, well, at least you finally found something that would put you to sleep, I guess. So, thanks for your time and listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest.